Spider-Man: Homecoming swings into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, bringing the iconic web-slinger, Peter Parker, back to his high school roots. In this adventure, Peter faces the challenges of teenage life while juggling his responsibilities as the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and facing the formidable villain, the Vulture. The movie commences in the heart of New York City, where the Avengers previously clashed with the Chitauri invaders. Salvage worker Adrian Toomes proudly displays a drawing his daughter created, depicting the Avengers in action. Together with his co-worker, they embark on the task of dismantling the Chitauri Leviathan, salvaging valuable technology. Their work is interrupted by the unexpected arrival of a U.S. Department of Damage Control van, and Marie Hogue, in charge of the operation, instructs Toomes to cease his activities and informs him that they will be confiscating all their findings. Toomes vehemently objects, leading to a heated confrontation, including a physical altercation between him and a disrespectful damage control agent. Despite Toomes' protests, Hogue remains firm in her insistence that he relinquishes his work. Upon discovering that Tony Stark is the mastermind behind damage control, Toomes assembles a group consisting of 3 colleagues: Jackson Bryce, Herman Schultz, and Phineas Mason. Their objective remains steadfast: to collect Chitauri technology regardless of official directives. Fast forward 8 years, and Toomes, along with his companions, continues their mission. To achieve this, Toomes employs his Vulture suit, enabling him to retrieve a Chitauri power core. While recording a video log, Peter Parker accompanies Happy Hogan to Berlin, but the real purpose is Tony Stark recruiting him to assist in the events of Captain America: Civil War. During the trip, Happy unveils the new Spider-Man suit designed by Tony, thrilling Peter. Peter records his participation in the airport clash alongside Iron Man and other loyalists, facing off against Captain America and his team. After the battle, Tony brings Peter back home in a limo, leaving the young hero eager for their next adventure. 2 months later, Peter is still waiting for any new missions from Happy. He goes back to being a regular student at Midtown High School. Peter makes plans to build a Lego Death Star with his friend, Ned. He also has a crush on a senior named Liz. He often deals with the teasing of Flash Thompson, a snotty rich kid. Outside of school, Peter continues his Spider-Man activities to help people and fight crime, which he jokingly calls the Stark internship. He decides to quit his school's decathlon team to focus on his superhero duties. During school, he secretly develops new web fluid for his web shooters. One night, Spider-Man confronts 4 criminals wearing Avengers masks who are attempting to rob an ATM with advanced gear. A fight ensues, but things take a dangerous turn when one of the criminals activates a device that causes a powerful explosion, damaging not only the ATMs but also a nearby store. Spider-Man quickly springs into action, rescuing the owner and even saving his cat. Peter sneaks back into his room through the window, trying to avoid letting his Aunt May know that he was out as Spider-Man. Inside, he finds his friend Ned sitting on his bed, holding a completed Lego Death Star. Ned is surprised but excited to learn Peter's secret identity as Spider-Man. Peter insists that Ned must keep the secret. Peter goes to dinner with his Aunt May, who notices he's been acting quietly. Peter tells her that he's been tired from his Stark internship, which surprises May, as she's not a fan of Tony Stark. They watch news footage of the bank robbery, and May advises Peter to stay away from such dangerous situations in the city. The next day at school, Ned bombards Peter with questions about being Spider-Man. They watch a PSA from Captain America during gym class, and Peter mentions briefly that he fought Captain America. Later, they overhear Liz talking about her crush on Spider-Man. Ned accidentally blurts out that Peter knows Spider-Man, which catches the attention of everyone. Liz invites Peter and Ned to a party at her house, hoping Peter can invite Spider-Man. At the party, Ned urges Peter to change into his Spider-Man suit, especially after Flash starts bothering him. Peter resists at first, but eventually goes to change. However, he notices an explosion in the distance and goes to check it out. He finds 2 criminals, Bryce and Schultz, selling alien technology to a gangster named Aaron Davis. When Ned calls him, Peter's phone goes off, making the criminals suspicious. Spider-Man tries to stop them, but Vulture appears and captures him, dropping him into a river with his parachute wrapping him. Iron Man arrives and rescues Spider-Man, revealing he had tracked him using his suit's tracker. Tony advises Peter to stay out of crime fighting for his safety. Peter considers returning to the party, but hears Flash and others mocking him. He discovers a weapon left behind by the criminals. In Toomes' hideout, Bryce, also known as Shocker, confesses to losing his weapon during their escape. Toombs, frustrated with Bryce's mistakes, decides to remove him from the criminal team. However, Bryce threatens to expose their activities to Toombs' wife and the public. In reaction to this, Toombs unintentionally disintegrates Bryce with a potent firearm that he had mistakenly identified as an anti-gravity gun. He then gives Schultz Bryce's electric gauntlets, and Schultz becomes the new Shocker. With Ned's assistance, Peter manages to open the weapon and discovers a power core inside. He locates Schultz within their school, looking for the weapon, and discreetly attaches a tracking device to him. This reveals that Schultz is heading to Maryland. To follow him, Peter rejoins the school's decathlon team as they travel to Washington, D.C. for the Nationals competition. Peter, as Spider-Man, follows Schultz and his gang as they attempt to hijack a damage control truck filled with weapons. However, he gets knocked out during the encounter and wakes up in a damage control storage facility. Unfortunately, he's stuck there until morning because the door is sealed. Inside, he communicates with an AI named Karen within his suit, discussing various aspects of his suit and even sharing his feelings for Liz. Peter also learns that the power core he found is essentially a dangerous bomb that activates when exposed to radiation. Realizing he's running out of time and about to miss an important competition, he asks Karen for help in unlocking the doors so he can make it to the event. Peter misses the entire competition, but luckily, his school's team wins thanks to the help of their reserved classmate, Michelle Jones. Afterward, the team visits the Washington Monument. Concerned about the dangerous power core he found earlier, Peter tries to call his friend Ned to warn him, but his message doesn't get through. In his Spider-Man persona, he hurries to the monument, but unfortunately, the power core detonates while it's in Ned's backpack. While they're in the elevator, Spider-Man arrives at the scene and attempts to prevent the elevator from crashing. However, he can't enter through the window without using excessive force. The police show up in helicopters and order Spider-Man to come down. Ignoring their commands, he leaps over the helicopter and swings from below. Breaking into the elevator, he uses his web to support it, allowing everyone inside to escape. Liz, the last person inside, almost falls with the elevator, but Spider-Man catches her with his web, saving her. In New York, Karen, the voice in Peter's Spider-Man suit, informs him that the suit records everything he sees. She helps Peter find a man named Aaron in a parking garage. Spider-Man questions Aaron, wanting to know why he was trying to obtain the technology from Toombs' gang. Aaron explains that he doesn't want those weapons, and he has a nephew who lives there. He believes Spider-Man is still new to being a hero and informs him that Toombs plans to gather more technology at the Staten Island ferry that afternoon. On the ferry, Toombs is meeting with another criminal named Mac Gargan. Spidey gets a call from Tony, but he lies about what he's up to. He swings in and takes down Gargan and his henchmen. Toombs tries to use a weapon on Spidey, but he immobilizes it with his webbing. However, this causes the weapon to malfunction and split the ferry in two. Spidey attempts to use his webbing to keep the ferry from completely falling apart, but it's not strong enough, and the split continues. Just when things look dire, Iron Man arrives with his drones to repair the ferry and save everyone. Spidey retreats to a rooftop, where Iron Man confronts him for not following instructions and lying about his activities with the suit. Peter tries to shift the blame to Tony for not listening to him when he told Tony about the weapons. However, Tony discloses that he had the FBI present on the ferry, demonstrating his attentiveness to Peter's concerns. He emphasizes the responsibility Peter carries for people's safety. Tony demands the return of the Spidey suit, and Peter pleads, feeling he's nothing without it. Tony tells him that he doesn't deserve the suit if he depends on it entirely. Dejected, Peter goes home to Aunt May, who's upset about his actions and demands an explanation. He admits to being fired from the internship and other misbehavior. Peter returns to his normal life as a student and spends more time with his friend, Ned. He decides to tell Liz that he likes her, and she already knew it. He then asks her to be his date for the homecoming dance, and she says yes. On the night of the dance, Peter goes to pick up Liz. To his surprise, her father turns out to be none other than Adrian Toombs. They take some awkward photos, and Toombs drives them to the dance. As Liz talks about Peter's background and the events in Washington, Toombs begins to piece together that Peter is Spider-Man. Liz gets out of the car, and Toombs quietly threatens Peter, warning him to stay away from his criminal activities, or he'll harm Peter and the people he cares about. At the dance, Peter discovers that Toombs intends to steal a shipment of weapons from a plane traveling from Avengers Tower to their new headquarters. Peter leaves Liz and hurries to get his homemade Spider-Man suit to stop Toombs. Outside, he faces an attack from Schultz and his gauntlet. gauntlets. Peter attempts to reach his web shooter, but Schultz keeps on attacking him. Fortunately, Ned comes to his rescue, and Peter uses his webbing to stick Schultz to a bus. Spidey rushes to confront Toomes, with Ned helping him keep track of the situation. Ned tries to contact Happy for assistance, but Happy dismisses his concerns and hangs up on him. Spidey discovers Toomes in his hideout. Toomes tries to justify his actions to Peter, explaining that he's doing what he thinks is necessary and that the world's not as simple as Peter thinks. However, this turns out to be a trick, as Toomes activates his suit, causing it to fly around and destroy support beams, leading to a pile of debris falling onto Spidey. Toomes abandons him, leaving Peter trapped under the rubble, fearing for his life. Recalling Tony's advice, he gathers all his strength to free himself, realizing he must face this challenge alone, without Tony's help. Spidey latches onto Vulture's suit as he intercepts the plane. Toomes is trying to collect what he needs, but Spidey thwarts his plan. Toomes climbs into his suit, and a fight ensues between him and Spidey on the plane. During the battle, they damage the plane's turbines, causing it to head towards Coney Island. Spidey manages to steer the plane away from the city, making it crash land on the beach. Toomes attempts to escape with the weaponry, but Spidey warns him that they're about to explode. Despite the warning, Toomes tries to flee, and the cores detonate, causing his suit to crash. Spidey rescues Toomes, but leaves him near the rest of the weaponry for Happy and the police to discover later, resulting in Toomes' arrest. At school, Peter learns that Liz is relocating to Oregon with her mother while her father faces trial. She's still upset with Peter for abandoning her at the dance. She bids farewell to Peter, hoping he can sort things out. Peter reclaims his place on the decathlon team, and Michelle is named the captain. She casually mentions that her nickname is MJ. Later, Peter receives a text instructing him to go to the bathroom. In the bathroom, Happy expresses gratitude to Peter for his actions and conveys Tony's desire to meet with him. Happy take Peter to the new Avengers HQ. Tony offers Peter a new Spider-Man suit and hints that he's ready to announce Peter as a new Avenger to the reporters waiting behind a wall. However, Peter declines the offer, stating he'd rather stick to being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. As Peter leaves and questions Tony's intentions, Tony reveals there were indeed reporters outside, and he was testing Peter. Surprisingly, Peter's decision to decline the offer shows his maturity. Pepper Potts comes out, wondering where Peter is, and Happy, covering for them, provides Tony with an engagement ring to propose to Pepper. After returning home, Peter discovers a bag from Tony on his bed. To his surprise, Tony has returned his original Spider-Man suit. Excited, Peter puts it on without realizing that Aunt May is right behind him. This shocks Aunt May, and she exclaims, "What the F?" Mid-credits scene, Toomes is imprisoned at the raft, where he encounters Gargan. Gargan shares that a group of criminals is planning to eliminate Spider-Man and hints that Toomes might know Spider-Man's identity. Toomes firmly denies any knowledge, stating that Spider-Man would have been dealt with if he did. He then leaves Gargan to join a visit from Liz and his wife. After credits scene, Captain America makes another appearance in a public service announcement, PSA. In this one, he discusses the value of patience and suggests that, at times, waiting for something might not be worth it. He humorously inquires with the off-screen PSA director about the number of PSAs he still needs to create. And the movie ends here. Thank you for watching, and I highly recommend watching the entire movie as it is incredibly enjoyable. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel, so you can stay updated and receive notifications whenever we upload new videos.